also the good senator from West Pokot, for understanding what this bill is. I want Kenyans out there to know that this bill is not proposing to be able to open up our market into substandard seeds. What this bill is proposing is to enhance innovation locally and to allow a parallel system, one that does not only rely on OECD that sets international standards, but one that is closer to home, that recognizes the role played by UPOV, subscribing entities like Kenya, who is a member of the UPOV, of the highest standard, to be able to build their economy. Mr. Speaker, Canada as a country limits requirements which are required for export seeds compared to domestic. In fact, for the domestic market in Canada, there's a rigid system that protects that economy. But when you are producing for export, you are literally excused from having to comply with every single requirement that is set out by Canada. Mr. Speaker, as I reply, I just want to reiterate that the current seed certificate system managed exclusively by KEFIS is a significant bottleneck to agricultural innovations and productivity. And I say this because it is very rigorous. It takes, and I want to give you an example, and what it costs a producer. When you visit KEFIS, and these are facts, and I'm happy to be challenged on facts, the process is very clear. The moment you do your registration with KEFIS, that you now have a new seed, they put you through the DUS sort of like testing system, which is a field base. You go through the first session, second session, and then now, ultimately, it will take you a minimum of 4 years. And the cost to the producer is $25,000 to $45,000. Local companies do not have that money. What we are proposing, Mr. Speaker, is something that will take a maximum of 9 months, 7 to 9 months. What is the cost? $3,500. Are we then saying that we don't want innovation, which are home-based? What we want is to be tied in to shackles of colonialism by these international bodies? Or are we saying that we too are local and we can be able to change our economic system? Mr. Speaker, I am simply proposing, and I thank God because the two distinguished senators who spoke on this matter recognize that this is not an avenue to be able to bring in substandards, but this is an avenue to build our DNA bank of local seeds. Today, Mr. Speaker, if you go to the UK, you will find seeds from Kenya. There is an international bank of all seeds around the world. Why can't we localize that and have a seed bank in Kenya that recognizes seeds from Bomet, from Bungoma, from West Pokot, that subscribe to a clear standard that tie down to DNA instead of just field trials? And I want to be very clear because I know there are people out there who think that I'm focusing on maize. My bill is not related to any maize seeds whatsoever. I'm not even bothered with the maize seeds. I'm only bothered with seeds, legumes. I'm a farmer, Mr. Speaker. I import grass. I import grains from Uganda. And it's cheaper than when it's available here for my cows to eat. With this seed, I will be able to grow them here, try the varieties here, and reduce that cost, and make sure that the milk that we sell there is cheaper. DNA has been proven worldwide as the only single solution to a problem that cannot be settled. I gave a good example. If a woman comes and says, Senator, from West Pokot, Murgot, you fathered this child, and you say, I have not. It is not lookalikes or field trials that will determine that. It's DNA. And once DNA says that, that's a fact. So we just want to encourage local innovation. So the CAB system that I am proposing, and I'm happy that you've understood it clearly, is one that includes DNA, fingerprinting, and transparent digital registry. So that I can go to the registry of KEBS and I say, how many seeds varieties are there? Today, you tell me. If you can go to KEFI's system and you follow the DNA of these things. You can't. Mr. Speaker, I want to close by trying to disabuse some misunderstanding by some stakeholders, and I'm happy that the chair of the committee is here. Because you will find that there are few stakeholders who have opposed to this bill. One of them, which is the Plant Breeders Association of Kenya. And the reasons for opposing these bills are founded in the following principles. Number one, they have assumed that the DOS testing is the only valid approach to seed certification. I have demonstrated here clearly, and I'm happy that the two distinguished senators who spoke have also agreed with me that it is not only DUS, but it is also DNA fingerprints. So I want to be able to correct that in that misunderstanding. And I've given examples. Countries like Canada process variety registration in 2 to 6 weeks, using streamlined laboratory approaches, while Australia successfully operates dual certificate system, one that is focused on the export market and one that is focused on the local market. Number two, Mr. Speaker, the current system, in which the Plant Breeders Association did not appreciate, is extremely expensive. This proposed system will reduce the cost. Mr. Speaker, because my good brother is here, if you allow me, I will donate a few minutes to him to be able to speak. But Mr. Speaker, I'd like to request that you extend by 15 minutes so that I allow my brother to speak, to contribute to this bill, so that I can be able to close. Because you can actually.
Very well, Senator Olekina.
Yeah.
I was inquiring as to the amount of time that is still available to you.
Yes.
And of course, I'm told we've got 4 minutes to rise.
Okay.
I will, when the time comes, exercise the provisions of Standing Order 34 to give you an additional 15 minutes.
Fantastic.
I extend the sitting of the House for 15 minutes from 6:30.
4 minutes, okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You can yield to Senator Cherargei
4
a few
minutes.
minutes so that you close as you reply.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is important for me to clarify to the Plant Breeders Association of Kenya, who it's important that I speak to, because they are stakeholders. And it is imperative that we engage in a factual discussion, not a discussion which is skewed in a particular direction. I have indicated clearly that it is not only the DUS system. Let us now introduce this DNA fingerprinting. Mr. Speaker, this stakeholder, PBAK, technical arguments, I consider them completely outdated. There are multiple scientific studies that demonstrate that laboratory seed quality test correlates well with field performance. So I want to encourage them to compare apples to apples, to look at countries like India. When we went to India, courtesy of KEFIS, we visited laboratories that were testing seeds varieties. And India recognized that it is imperative that they have a local system that will support their economy, not only to be boiled down by foreign policies that cripples their productivity level. Mr. Speaker, it is also important that I clarify to PBOK on the importance of this new variety, new registration system when it comes to small-scale farmers. In fact, contrary to their submissions, this standard-based registration system that we are now proposing will reduce the cost to small-scale farmers. It will make it easier. I have demonstrated to you the process with KEFIS. 4 to 5 years, $50,000. Yet what I'm proposing is only 9 months, maximum. Any small company in Kenya, we are talking about innovation. There are no longer jobs in Kenya. You can no longer get a job. But you can go to school, become a scientist, and decide that I'm going to start a seed company. When you start a seed company, if we stick to the argument, outdated argument being propagated by KEFIS, including sponsoring news article, editorial, that's something which is not factual, then there's no way we are going to end unemployment in this country. Because then we will just be left to become slaves of international bodies. The standards that I'm proposing, Mr. Speaker, are very, very high standards. UPOV standards are the highest standards in the world. And why do I say they are the highest standard compared to OECD? Is because Kenya, our country Kenya, is a member of UPOV, so they contribute. Senator Murgor, do you know what Kenya does when it goes to OECD? They literally just say, oh, in Kenya, this is our situation. I was there. I sat down in a meeting. This is our situation. But the difference, and that is what KEFIS is telling you, let's go this direction. The difference with the UPOV testing system is that Kenya is a bona fide member. They will say, no, we do not want this, and they will be listened to. It is, if you want to compare OECD, you can compare with the G7 countries. You know, OECD is made up of 38 countries. G7 country is made up of 7 countries. Or you have the permanent members of the United Nations. When we go there, we just talk, but ultimately is what the permanent members of the United Nations will say, will determine which direction we'll go as a country. When will we as a country look back and say enough? I am tired, Mr. Speaker, as I end, of my mother who grows beans, harvesting 700 kilos. Yet my relatives in Tanzania are harvesting 1,700 kilos per hectare. And this is because of the old bureaucratic, bottleneck, outdated policies which are being propagated by KEFIS. I'm willing to engage KEFIS at any given time on a fact base, factual, on what we're going to do to improve this economy. Mr. Speaker, the 60-day registration is very conservative. If you compare with countries like Australia, there are certain crops that only takes a very 2 to 6 weeks. That is not 60 days. So 60 days, I'm saying, that's 2 months. 2 to 6 weeks is a month and a half. So I'm saying is that with KEBS, I have not seen KEBS written in this water, but I've seen KEBS written here. I trust KEBS. Kenyans trust KEBS. So let us now shift the burden to the producers, to the young Kenyans from Baringo County, from the young Kenyans from Elgeyo Marakwet, from Nandi County, who says, I'm going to produce this seed to contribute to the GDP. I've demonstrated clearly, Mr. Speaker, that with the reduced cost, the amount of GDP growth in the agricultural sector in this country will be triple. I've given you statistics of how much we are currently paying for our students in primary and secondary school. $1.67 billion. The $1.67 billion which we are paying, That one will be easily raised by this bill. This bill will be the best thing that can happen to this country. It will help farmers compete internationally. You know, in the Maasai community, when a child is born, the mother, when the umbilical cord is cut, the mother tells you, "Bongal dauli no, my bongal alai. Hold your heart, I hold my heart." My dear colleagues, it's about time that we also hold our economy dear to us and support local innovation so that we can grow our economy. It is about time that we treat foreign bodies that comes in to try and control our seed industry as second class to our own innovations. As I sit, Mr. Speaker, let me reiterate, it is not, this bill does not seek to put Kenya at a disadvantage. It seeks to make Kenya be recognized for their innovation, for their ability to grow. I can assure you that a company like Western Seed, I think it's called Western Seed, let me check. This company that decided that they were tired of the bureaucracy at KEBS. It's called Western Seed Company Limited, a company which was based in Kitale. They got tired of the bureaucracy and the corruption at KEBS, at KEFIS, and decided we're moving to Zambia, where they are now thriving. I want this company to come back to Kenya and help innovation. I want to appreciate companies like Pure Seeds East Africa Limited for fully supporting this. I want to appreciate Kenchik for supporting this with their submissions. I want to appreciate companies like Bio. And you know, Mr. Speaker, as I end, Bio really assisted me. Because as a dairy farmer, the only thing I knew on what to do is to use my local knowledge, because I didn't study agriculture, use YouTube. But when I was now trying to get my milk in the market, Bio walked me through lab tests on the quality assurance, not field trials, lab tests. And they see the importance of this bill in terms of setting high standards for this country. So this bill, Mr. Speaker, is a bill that I believe will revolutionize the seed industry in this country. It will allow us to compete with our neighbors, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Uganda, who are dancing between 1.3 metric tons per hectare to 1.6 metric tons per hectare, to 1.7 metric tons per hectare. In fact, Mr. Speaker, nothing stops us from jumping up to 2.2 metric tons per hectare, making sure that we improve on our economy. Our people depend on their yield. It is sad, Mr. Speaker. Narok farmers are moving away from wheat. They're moving away from wheat. Because how do you, and you do the math, Mr. Speaker, you have 1 acre of land, you rent that acre, you lease that 1 acre of land for 7,000 shillings. You plow it for 3,000 shillings. That is 10,000 shillings. Then after you've done that, you harrow it for 2,000 shillings. That is 12,000. You do a second harrow for 2,000 shillings. That is 14,000 shillings. Then you now buy these seeds, which have been forced because of bureaucracy of KEFIS. You buy a bag at 5,000 shillings, even if you use that one bag in 1 acre. By the time you're done with spraying, it is costing you 25 to 30,000 shillings an acre. Then you harvest. You get 5 bags. 5 bags an acre. And then you go into the market, you are told it is 5,000 shillings per acre, per bag. So do the math. 5,000 times 5 is 25,000. You might as well have just gone and take care of your cows. Instead of you are, toying the soil, working out every day for you to come and either break even or get at a loss. In fact, you will go at a loss because when you are harvesting, the combined harvester, which most of them come from Uasin Gishu and Kitale, will charge you 2,000 shillings an acre. Essentially, you will just be saying, I'd rather even just let my cows go and graze in this wheat. Because by the time you're harvesting, it is 30,000 shillings. But your harvest, it's 25,000 shillings, losing 5,000 shillings. So Kenyans, this bill gives you an opportunity for you to take control of your crops, gives you an opportunity for you to compete internationally. Kefis, I have a lot of respect for you. Handle the international market. Maintain the international market. If we can improve and continue producing more sunflower seeds to be sent across the world, because do your math, do your research. I've taken my time to do my research, and I know what crops we export. And out of the crops that I'm talking about here, the only crops, and I'm not mentioning those crops here, those crops I'll leave it to Kefis. It is only sunflower that we can say we export as a country. Everything else we import. I am tired of being a consumer. I want to be a producer. And this bill gives Kenyans an opportunity. So I want to ask Kenyans to support this bill. When we call for public participation, let us argue based on facts so that we can be able to improve our economy. And this is when we will get these African brains, these Kenyan brains, scientists who are currently living in fear abroad, can come back here, commit themselves, start local companies, produce their seeds, and make sure that we have billionaires and millionaires. And we feed this nation. DNA fingerprinting is the way to go. The standard-based registration system managed by KEBS is the way to go. And we will be an innovative nation. So, Mr. Speaker, before I reply, I think I have 5 minutes, so I'll give Senator Cherargei 4 minutes, and then the last 1 minute to just say the word I reply. Thank you, Mr.
Senator Cherargei, keep in mind the fact that
yes,
you've got under 4 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, we are under your mercy and your indulgence, so the Senator should not give direction. Mr. Speaker.
Blame the mover of the bill.